Hello and welcome back to some more Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Boy, in the last episode, we cross-examined Catherine Hall and we basically know everything about what happened. We know who the killer is. Probably, I doubt they would change that this late in the case. We know why this poison gas trap was set off. We know all that. So now all we gotta do is bring in all of our clothes. I assume we're either, unless they turn about to blaze me and go, aha, actually, get rickrolled. There's another part after this. I have a feeling this is probably gonna be the last episode of this case. Miss Hall, have you composed yourself? Yes. What you did, no matter the reason, was unforgivable. Yes, I know. However, you committed this crime in order to prove Mr. Master's innocence. If the truth culprit is someone else, we have a duty to reinvestigate. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's been like a minute. You're already back at it again with the overruled. No false evidence from the I-7 incident remains in the official case files. Moreover, there is no evidence to lend credence to Miss Hall's testimony. We should first arrest Miss Hall as the culprit behind today's incident. We cannot be certain that all of the case files are accurate. After all, the prosecutor in charge, or in the case, has a history of forging evidence, to put it lightly. Are you suggesting that the PIC overlooked such a prosecutor? That's none of my concern. The truth is that evidence was falsified. And the fact that Dover's body was from 18 years ago was just discovered proves it. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I can see remnants of Prosecutor Von Karma within you. Oh, buddy, what did you just say to me? You tried to deceive the PIC and fabricate the truth. We're calling out Von Karma for his... Okay. Courtney, look, I respect you a lot. You're a remarkably intelligent character, and you're a formidable opponent. But good God, your utter contempt for me, for some goddamn reason, is starting to get it's starting to get on my nerves a little bit. Let me inform you of the PIC's logic. Okay. Show me what you got. The PIC's logic. I acknowledge that Prosecutor Von Karma fabricated the information about the body. However, he successfully convicted Mr. Master as an accomplice. I believe that the true culprit was Miss Curator herself. She even attempted to murder Mr. Gustavia today in order to pin the blame on him. What? Pin the blame? We know he's guilty! Is that really what the PIC believes? Yes, every word I utter is for the sake of law and order. It seems she intends to hide the truth for the sake of the PIC. At this rate, neither Mr. Master nor Miss Hall will be saved. We know he's guilty. And to top it off, he has the perfect motive, which is that, hey, I baked your cake for you. Why? Like because he made the whole deal with Dover where he's like, all right, I bake you a cake. Because you can't cook it, you can't actually bake any desserts, you're kind of a terrible chef, so I'll do the cooking, you do the sculpting, and then we win. And then he probably realized, wait a minute, I don't get anything out of this deal. So that gives him the perfect motive. So, you say that she wanted to pin the blame on him? Yeah, there's no pinning blame here. We know full well that he's guilty. Let's try. If she wanted to pin the crime on somebody, why choose Mr. Gustavia? Perhaps Mr. Gustavia suspected Miss Hall was the criminal, as he attempted to confirm whether or not the Gemini sculpture was genuine. He was caught in a trap meant to silence him forever. Can you prove that theory? Mr. Gustavia is currently teetering on the brink of death. We have probably no way to prove it unless he regains consciousness. In other words, there is nothing we can do for now. That can't be true. There must still be something we can do. You still don't get it, do you? Allow me to give you a clearer explanation. We already have ample evidence from both the IS-7 incident and today's poison gas incident. There is no need to investigate any further. Okay, alright, you want to investigate further? How about you tell me whose blood is inside I just went right past it. How about you tell me whose blood was on the statue, or the sculpture, or whatever? How about we investigate that? If all you need is a reason to keep going, here's your reason. There is still one piece of evidence from the IS-7 incident that remains unsettled. Take a look at this. This is the forensic results from the Gemini sculpture that melted in the Winter Palace. According to the results of that analysis, traces of someone's blood were found. Who does this blood belong to? Until we know the answer, this case is still open. There was blood mixed in with the remains of the Gemini sculpture. I heard nothing of this from Sebastian. Yeah, wow, I am so shocked to hear that. This was a report from Detective Gumshoe. I had planned to tell Mr. DeBest myself. So even though you had no investigative authority, you still did as you please. I shall report everything that transpired today to the PIC. Yeah, you have fun with that. I will not avert my eyes from the truth, nor shall I overlook the mistakes of the past. If you wish to report my actions to the PIC, be my guest, but in exchange, I want you to let me investigate this case to the very end. It is not my place to decide such things. I must ask that you check with Sebastian regarding this matter. Yeah, because that's my favorite thing to do. Ask Sebastian for a favor. Hey, good news, you guys. What? You're not going to be in the rest of this game? Thanks to our early detection. Our early detection? Mr. Gustavia's life was saved. You didn't do jack shit. Mr. Gustavia. So, he's alive.
Would you be the ones who saved my life?
Hey, Mr. Gustavia.
You are. Sir Assistant, are you not? You've grown so big. This time, this one is your assistant, then?
No, I'm... Heh, he's an assistant candidate, and Gregory Edgeworth's son. I am Mars Edgeworth, a prosecutor...
Ugh. What a twist of fate! I am in your debt. It is thanks to you that I have completely recovered.
There's no need for thanks. Since you're alive, we can reach the truth behind the incident 18 years ago.
What do you speak of?
While you were unconscious, the truth has started to come to light. You may be Isaac Dover's murderer.
Well, that's a blunt way of going about it.
What? Really? Miss Hall was looking for the criminal behind the events of 18 years ago. That's why she set up the poison gas in the Pisces case. Mr. Gustavia, the events of the incident 18 years ago. Tell us what really happened. So you wish to remain silent? Nah, I think he's just meditating. He can sleep standing up? What a useful skill to have! Meditation is different from sleeping, though. Mr. Gustavia, please tell us what you did 18 years ago.
I am the criminal because I fell for the trap. That's not a very funny joke. I am a victim, not a culprit.
Mr. Gustavia, it has not yet been made clear whether or not you are the criminal. This is only their baseless speculation. Baseless speculation? What? Do not concern yourself with a drill of a prosecutor without jurisdiction.
At least there is one person here who understands.
My name is Justine Courtney. I am a judge. If you would like, I will be happy to assist you. Let us show Prosecutor Edgeworth the truth of 18 years ago.
Understood. I shall prove my innocence to you, Sir Prosecutor.
Judge Courtney, is that your answer? Do you intend to bury the truth of the IS-7 incident before it can be brought to light? I merely believe in the judgments of the goddess of law. Ultimately, those who render judgment are only human. As long as humans control the law, there is no guarantee that every verdict is correct. If you are going to help conceal the truth, I will not hold back. I'm looking forward to it.
Lady Justine, what should I do now?
You are being suspected because you set off the poison gas. Can you tell us the reason why you opened the Pisces case?
Understood. I came to see Sir Dover's works from 18 years ago. However, I accidentally entered the museum a half hour before it opened.
Miss Hall, there was nobody at the entrance, correct? Since I thought the criminal from 18 years ago might be coming, I had no security guards in place. I didn't even lock the doors. I was very busy with opening preparations, so there was nobody on the first floor. In addition, I locked every palace door aside from the autumn one.
I see.
This must have been done in order to lure the criminal to the Autumn Palace, which is why he ended up entering the Autumn Palace. It's already suspicious that he snuck into the museum in the first place. The gallery should remain silent. Unless you have evidence that can prove his testimony false, I will not allow any objections. Gallery? This isn't even a courtroom! Now then, why did you open the Pisces case?
I wish to view Sir Dover's handiwork up close. The Gemini sculpture. No, it was actually the Pisces, wasn't it? The lid had been frozen shut, so I borrowed a burner to open it. But as soon as I opened the lid, poison gas began pouring out.
That's quite a convenient testimony. It sounds like a total lie, doesn't it? There are parts of Mr. Gustavia's testimony that I have issues with as well. However, there is no evidence to disprove it. But that's...
Would it not make sense for suspicion to fall on Lady Catherine before myself? She may have intended to release the poison gas haphazardly.
Objection.
Kate turned on the sprinklers as soon as the gas was released. She was specifically targeting the person who triggered the trap. Mrs. Gustavia, you were her only target.
You are willing to accept the words of this criminal as the truth?
Miss Hall must atone for her crimes. However, the same can be said for the criminal from 18 years ago.
Sir Prosecutor, it seems you wish to suspect me to the bitter end. However, I had no reason to murder Sir Dover.
Yes, you did.
If there's no evidence to suggest that I killed him, you cannot suspect me.
You have every reason in the world to want to kill him. Mr. Edgeworth, can you prove that Mr. Gustavia is the criminal? All we know for sure is that Mr. Gustavia fell victim to the poison gas. No matter how strange his behavior was, it won't prove he committed the murder. But that's... Mr. Shields, is there nothing we can do? Well, if there isn't any evidence, we should try reorganizing the facts. If Mr. Gustavia was the one who killed Mr. Dover, there must have been a motive. Yes, motive. Mr. Gustavia himself is denying that such a motive exists. Yeah, well, we know he does. We know he very obviously has a motive. It's because he did all the work in the partnership with Dover, and he's like, wait, I don't get anything out of this. It's not easy to take another person's life. 18 years ago, your old man also discussed motive with Prosecutor Von Karma. You claim their collaboration is irrelevant. If Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover's relationship had turned sour, and there's the logic we need. There's the logic we need. Right there. It could serve as a motive for murder. We couldn't talk with Mr. Gustavia 18 years ago, but this time, things are different. If we can connect everything we've learned so far, the truth might be revealed. Yes, I suppose so. It seems I must re-examine the information from 18 years ago. I must recall all the details that have remained unexplained.
So, the gloved finger marks on the picture frame was your doing?
Denisha denied leaving the finger marks on the frame. If they were left by Mr. Gustavia, he may have been trying to view the angel's recipe. Okay. I guess, yeah, logic dictates that'd be what he was trying to do. Your master asked me to change the film on the camera. It seemed the film he prepared in advance wasn't enough. Oh, he took pictures of it! He took pictures of it, that's why I completely forgot about that stupid camera, but now the second that is... Do we have the camera in evidence? No, we don't, but that doesn't matter. That's really clever. That's really clever. The reason why the camera, the film ran out was probably because he was taking pictures of the... He was taking pictures of the, what's it? He was taking pictures of the stupid recipes. I'm sorry, words are hard. It seems the number of photos he took didn't match up with the amount of film remaining. That's clever. I did not think about that at all. Well, he told me himself it might have just been a mistake, though. The information my father collected 18 years ago was certainly not for naught. If there is no evidence, then I shall use logic to reveal the truth. Here we go. Okay. First things first. Your motive is very obvious. Anybody could figure that out. Mr. Gustavia, you collaborated with the victim, Isaac Dover, to create your desserts, did you not?
Oh, it seems you know about my secret.
Mr. Shields told me about it. Mr. Dover handled the design, while you were in charge of the taste. Is that correct?
Back then my training had been insufficient.
It seems you worked together through the semi-finals, but not during the finals. Why is that?
We both wished to compete in the finals against Sir Master in our own merits.
Objection! You must have also helped with Isaac Dover's desserts even during the finals.
What makes you able to declare something like that?
Didn't you tell Prosecutor Von Karma about it yourself, 18 years ago? That you cooperated until the day before the finals. The sculptures in Mr. Dover's room were all made out of sherbet. Such an amount would most likely need to be left overnight to freeze, which means Mr. Gustavia prepared Mr. Dover's sherbet in advance the day before.
That's right. So you realize Gustavia's cooperation ended with the day before the finals.
Then why did Mr. Dover not help Mr. Gustavia in return?
The views of the dead are of no concern to me.
Why did Isaac Dover not help you in return? If there is a reason why your partnership with Isaac Dover broke down, that would be a motive for murder! Oh god.
That could be a possibility. However, Sir Dover and I ended our partnership peacefully.
I don't believe that even for a second. A peaceful breakup, that's how to imagine! Well, a peaceful breakup is not hard to imagine. These two specific people breaking up peacefully, that's hard to imagine.
Not to mention, it's absurd to think that I killed Sudova in Mr. Master's room. I couldn't have killed Sudova while Mr. Master was also there, making his desserts.
That's not the only time you could have killed him.
In other words, there was no way I could have committed the murder.
That's not true. If there was a moment when Mr. Master was absent from the room, I could prove that it was possible for Mr. Gustavia to commit the murder. Okay, well, we can't do anything with this yet, but what we can do is connect the fact that the reason why there's so little film remaining is because you were taking pictures of the recipe book. If he had photographed the contents of the angel's recipe, he wouldn't need to steal it. Perhaps Mr. Gustavia used Mr. Master's camera to take the pictures. If he had stolen the actual recipe book, the police would have found out. I see. Pictures, eh? The problem is the time at which he entered Mr. Master's room. Mr. Gustavia could have moved around freely during the afternoon tea, right? Because it seems... Oh, right, the tea! Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about the tea. Okay, well then there's the time which you could have killed him. That's the only time you could have killed him, so there you go. If I remember correctly, the only time we can prove that Dover was still alive is...
The victim was not seen as he stayed locked up in his room after the contest had begun. The only one who could have unlocked the locked rooms was Jeff Master, also known as Master Chef.
Was Master's desserts all that you ate?
Actually, no. After the afternoon tea, I also ate Icy's desserts.
After the contest began, Isaac Dover was locked up in his room. If we assume he was killed at some point before Delicious snuck into his room, then there is a high chance that he was killed before the afternoon tea was over. And a final piece of logic, afternoon tea is the only time you could have killed him because you couldn't have done it while Master was still in the room. Isaac Dover was alive up until the afternoon tea began. Ergo, that is the only time when Gustavia could have killed Dover. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you satisfied? Sorry, but I am far from satisfied, because I am finally starting to see the truth behind this case. Are you saying you have found some evidence to show us that truth? No, there is no need to present any evidence, since we can just have Mr. Gustavia tell us the truth. Ah, so this is where you use that, right? Is it time for Logic Chess? It's been a long time since... The last time we played Logic Chess was against Larry, of all people. Indeed. Mr. Gustavia, there is one thing I want you to tell me. I said, Mr. Gustavia, there is one thing I want you to tell me.
What is it?
During the finals of the contest, you made your desserts on your own.
I wanted to compete for the title of the world's greatest pastry chef on my own merits.
If that was truly the case, you would have competed on your own merits from the start. I want you to tell me why it was necessary for you to cooperate with Isaac Dover.
Yep, Logic Chess time.
Here we go. During the contest 18 years ago, Mr. Gustavia collaborated with Mr. Dover. I wonder, what made them decide to cooperate in the first place? That's what I need to draw out from him, but... 4? Why are there 4? Who ordered for 4? Good God, okay, 4 pieces. Please let that be the limit. Don't make the next boss battle, the next Logic Chess boss battle be 5 pieces, please. 4 is already enough. I don't think... Good God, 4. It seems he pretends to meditate when things aren't going his way. First, I'll ask about why he collaborated with Mr. Dover. The truth has been hidden for 18 years. That ends today. Logic Chess, begin. Okay, why to collaborate with Mr. Dover? Why did you decide to collaborate with Isaac Dover?
Mr. Dover and I were already acquaintances even before the contest began. Since he was interested in the contest, we simply decided to enter it together.
Heh. Joining forces with a sculptor. You weren't confident in your own abilities. No, he was not.
You know nothing about me. We wanted to make great works together.
Okay. He seems agitated. Let's back off a bit.
Mr. Dover's son and I attended the same elementary school. We all got along well from the start.
Really? So were you going to share the title of world's greatest pastry chef together? Stop meditating. Wake up. As expected, he pretends to meditate when things aren't going his way. Mr. Dover was a sculptor. I doubt he had any interest in the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. In that case, where did his true goal lie? Oh, well, if they're all gonna be that easy, then I guess there being 4 pieces there isn't really gonna matter.
Indeed, my goal was the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. However, Sir Dover's goal was the grand prize, the Angel's Recipe.
I see. You cooperated because your interests were aligned, but there must have been a reason why your partnership soured.
Sir Prosecutor, I am the victim of a poisoning. If you are going to suspect me in this manner, perhaps I'd better return to the infirmary.
Wait a moment.
In that case, you should end things soon. I am not a patient man.
I mean, it's not my fault you have 3 chess pieces remaining to knock down. He's still hiding something. Next, I should ask him about his true goal. Okay, alright, we got our time back as usual. I need to keep the pressure on him while being cautious of the time. Okay. Wait a minute, this, because we know he wanted the recipe book. Recipe book? No, we know he wanted the recipe book. Okay, why does the timer go down so goddamn fast? We're in like double time right now. The time is going down so fast. Didn't you have another goal besides the title? The title alone doesn't seem to have much value.
How dare the likes of you insult the title of a confectionery artist? My only goal was the title itself. I had no interest in anything else. My dream is to become the world's greatest pastry chef.
No, your goal was probably to, wait and see, he's agitated. Your goal was probably to get the recipe book, which, by the way, if he had the recipe, the only reason he would have wanted the recipe is because the only reason he would have wanted the Krabby Patty secret formula is if he wanted to, if he has that tongue illness where he can't taste anything. That's probably why he wanted it.
18 years ago, I was lacking in design sense. However, things are different now.
Oh? Are you saying you have improved at your craft?
Exactly, for I have trained at the Republic of Zhang-Fei.
You trained at the Republic of Zhang-Fei? He's still agitated. We're gonna back off and wait and see.
Yes. At the time, I also studied Mr. Master's works. I would often watch his show with my son.
So, you were studying Mr. Master's work to improve your own skills? If you had his recipes, perhaps it would have been easier for you to become the world's greatest?
Perhaps. To a pastry chef, Sir Master's recipes were worth their weight in gold.
Oh my god, stop meditating! Okay, so every time he meditates, we have to wake him up by saying something? If becoming the world's greatest pastry chef was your goal, you should have also been interested in the grand prize, the Angel's Recipe. 2 down, 2 to go. Those first 2 were pretty easy, though. We haven't really had to use any clues or anything. I mean, the time went down lightning fast, so please keep the time. Please don't make the time go down even faster. I mean, I know we're gonna get our time back, but still.
The recipes of the world's greatest pastry chef, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't interested. However, I wouldn't think that simply being interested would be a problem.
I wonder about that. The Angel's Recipe's true nature was not for making desserts, but cures, and all of their contest participants should have been aware of that. Looks like I'm getting close. He isn't meditating anymore. Now to slowly but surely drive him into a corner. Okay, thank you for the time back, but also, how quickly is the time going to go down this time? Next, we'll ask what he planned to use the recipe book for. Okay, I think, okay, yeah, the time's still going down. This is too accusatory. Did you intend to make desserts with it? Did you intend to win the Angel's Recipe and use it to make desserts?
Of course, if I obtained the Angel's Recipe, I was going to use it in my training.
I hear the Angel's Recipe was worth a lot of money.
I don't know the exact details, but that recipe book was much too valuable to be sold.
Okay. Good God. You seem to know a lot about the book. You seem to know quite a lot about the Angel's Recipe. Alright, that wasn't enough. We still need more.
It was explained to all the contest participants at the beginning of the contest.
Okay, so if that's true, then you definitely know that it has the Krabby Patty secret formula inside. In that case, you must know about the recipe book's true nature, that it was not a recipe book for desserts at all.
Impressive, Sir Prosecutor. So you know that the true nature of the Angel's Recipe. The Angel's Recipe, some have called it the ultimate recipe book. It contained formulas for new medicines that were not yet on the market.
He knew the recipes were actually formulas for new medicines. This could be a useful clue. So now we can ask him if he knows the recipe book's value. The Angel's Recipe, did you know its true value?
Silly question. It contained Sir Master's best dessert recipes. You just admitted you know what's actually in there. You just admitted it. Looks like that clue will come in handy. You just admitted you know what's in there. You may have studied design in Zingfei. However, your skills in lying could use more work. You just said earlier that the angel's recipe contained formulas for medicines. Still no, huh? Excuse me, you wanted to distribute desserts, you wanted the medicine formulas. You want to become a pharmacist. Did you need new medicine? I mean, we know the answer to that is probably going to be yes. Okay. Now, why would a pastry chef such as yourself be so interested in medicine? Perhaps what you were really after was the information about the new medicine. 3 down, 1 to go. I've underestimated you, Sir Prosecutor. Yes. My goal was more than just the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. At the time, my son was ill. Oh, you're okay. I would have placed my bets that you were the one with the illness, but I wouldn't even necessarily call it an illness. I would call it a condition. Like, I know that's like extremely pedantic and it's a semantic thing to get caught up on, but still, it's like I've always thought like so for instance, someone who's lactose intolerant, I wouldn't say that they have an illness. I'd just say that they have a condition, right? That's a medical condition. That's a dietary restriction. I wouldn't call it an illness. Like I wouldn't say that your son was ill because he couldn't taste anything. That's not quite. It's not quite how that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I've never. Again, I know it's a silly, pedantic, semantic thing to get caught up on, but still, it's just I just never. I never referred to anyone like that in this context. Your son was ill. Tell me more about that. To protect my son's honor, I can say no more. Judging by the worried look on his face, I must have struck a nerve. Next, I need him to tell me more about his son's illness. Okay. This is it. This will be my final move of the game. What was the name of the illness? What was your son like? Just the recipe book. We know this is true. We know this is true. This is the only question we don't have any information about. What kind of person was your son? Ah, my boy. He loved the desserts I made. Did you enter the contest solely for your son? Sir Prosecutor, you could never understand the feelings a father has for his son. I wanted nothing more than to cure my boy's illness. I doubt that. He's pissed off. We're gonna wait and see. Until the semifinals, my son would always drop by the contest venue to play. Is that so? Wouldn't he get in your way? I doubt you had time to care for your son while you were challenging Mr. Master. That may be so, but I wanted to grant my son's wish. He said he always wanted to be the first to eat my desserts. Okay. I mean, if he's the one with the illness, then that doesn't make any sense. He sounds pretty healthy to me. Like, if he's the one with the condition where he can't taste anything, then that logic doesn't hold up. About your son, if he was so sick, wouldn't it be difficult for him to come and play with you? My son's illness, it wasn't life-threatening. Well, we know that because it's the taste thing. That might serve as a clue. So we have to ask these things, huh? Okay. I guess we'll start this. I guess we'll start here. Did the angel's recipe have the only cure? Yes, though the medicine is being sold everywhere now. At the time, the recipe book was my words are hard. Was my one and only option. That's why I continue making my desserts without joining the others for tea time. So you weren't interested in what Mr. Master was making? You sure seemed confident in your chances of winning. I couldn't be bothered to pay any attention to that's such a lie. That is such a bold-faced lie. First off, you're sweating buckets, but even if you weren't, you already admitted earlier that you were interested in Mr. Master's work, so you're just full of shit. You said earlier that you studied Mr. Master's work. Also, I have no clue how close we are to the end, how close we are to breaking his final piece, but we are at halftime. So I'm a little worried. In addition, if your goal was to win the contest in order to get the medicine formula, you must have been curious about the other contestants' entries as well. Still no, okay. There was time to sample the other desserts during the contest, but none of their entries had any flavor. Yeah, okay, it's him. It's definitely him. He's absolutely the one with the illness, not his son. If his son had the illness, then first off, he wouldn't want to taste anything, because he couldn't taste anything. You're definitely the one with the illness. And now that we've sufficiently proven that we know what the illness is and that he doesn't have it, now I think we can ask the first question. I suspect I may have been a bit nervous as well. No, that's not. So everything he ate tasted flavorless.
This could be a useful clue. A useful clue indeed. Okay, what was the name of the illness? What was the name of your son's illness?
Sir Prosecutor, how insensitive of you! My son was seriously ill.
What, you just said it wasn't life-threatening! You just said it wasn't. What do you? Looks like that clue will come in handy. You literally just told me it wasn't life-threatening. You lying sack of shit. You told me your son's illness was not life-threatening. Is there really a need to be so secretive about it? Still no, really.
It was enough to keep him from living a normal life.
That must have been difficult for your son.
I tried everything I could to cure his illness. But it wasn't fair for the poor boy. He could never taste the desserts he loved so much.
I mean, if that's supposed to be a surprising moment, was he too fat? Jesus Christ! No, was it a taste disorder? I'm pretty sure we knew from the beginning that that's what it was, because that's the only thing it could possibly have been that had plot relevance. A remedy that could also cure Mr. Masters' taste disorder. God, this final piece is just not being knocked. Does not want to get knocked down. He had it too. Yeah, so I mean that's like I figured as much. I had a feeling that you would also be the one like that. So your son suffers from a taste disorder.
I didn't think you'd figure it out so quickly.
I wouldn't call this logic just quick. In order to cure your son's taste disorder, you needed a recipe book. Wasn't that your true goal?
It is as you say.
Based on how he's acted up until now, it appears he is still hiding something. Yeah, he's hiding the fact that he also has the condition. Looks like that clue will come in handy. Didn't you also have the illness? Being unable to taste anything, regardless of what you eat. Such a bitter illness. That reminds me, didn't you say something similar earlier? None of their entries had any flavor, so I didn't feel like eating any of it. Wasn't it? Perhaps your son wasn't the only one who suffered from a taste disorder. Good God, this final piece just does not want to fall. It's hard to imagine being a successful pastry chef without a sense of taste. Perhaps what you really wanted was to cure yourself?
That's completely ludicrous.
No, it's not. We caught yourself in the lie.
8 years ago, I made this all by myself.
What? You collaborated with Mr. Dover? What do you mean? Lying sack of shit. I mean, credit where it's due. You put up a good fight, but man, the simple things is what we got you on. Heh, it seems like you've caught yourself in a contradiction. Didn't you cooperate with Isaac Dover in the contest? You can hardly say you made the results all by yourself. Oh! Wow! That was a doozy. 4 freaking pieces knocked down, one after the other. You must take great pride in your abilities as a pastry chef, but to betray your pride and cooperate with another contestant? You did it all to cure your own disease.
Well done, Sir Prosecutor. It is as you say. The one with the taste disorder is not my son. It is I. No one knew. I've kept it a secret for 18 years.
It doesn't matter how long a secret is kept. If you lie before me, I will expose it. Then Gustavia and Isaac Dover were both trying to obtain the recipes for the new medicines. Gustavia to cure his condition, and Dover most likely to sell the recipe book for money. For this reason, they entered the contest as a collaborative effort. And with that... checkmate! Whew, that was something. Please don't give the next boss 5 pieces. I don't know if I can handle that. I barely scraped through 4.
I have never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago.
Taste disorder?
It was a severe disorder. I was unable to discern any flavor at all. It's the one illness as a pastry chef dreads above all else.
Those symptoms sound a bit different from Mr. Master's taste disorder. Mr. Master's condition is known as hypergeusia. It simply causes a decreased sensitivity to certain specific flavors.
I'm sure it has caused Mr. Masters much pain too. After all, no medication was available to cure it 18 years ago.
In order to cure your taste disorder, you would need Mr. Master's Angel's recipe. And that's why you entered the contest, am I correct?
That was one of my goals, but I still had my sights set on the title of World's Greatest. When it comes to making desserts, I won't lose to anyone. Even without the ability to taste, I still have the utmost confidence in my flavors.
Oh? So I presume you also prepared your dessert in the finals with the intent to win?
That goes without saying.
According to what Mr. Shields told us earlier, the evaluation of Mr. Gustavia's entry was...
Up until the semifinals, Mr. Gustavia's flavors and design were up to my liking. Unfortunately, both the taste and appearance of his finals entry left much to be desired.
It seems the dessert you made for the finals was not rated highly in regards to flavor. Mr. Gustavia, you will tell us about how you made your dessert during the finals.
Very well. It seems I must teach you upstarts a lesson. Upstarts?
I mean, yeah, I'm not exactly a master chef, so I guess you could call me an upstart, but still, in a battle of logic, I don't know if you want to be throwing out insults here, buddy. I mean, Edgeworth's kind of the king. He's literally the only person in the Ace Attorney universe who knows how to use logic. And his father, I guess.
Sodova and I cooperated until the finals. I handled the favor where he was in charge of the design. However, for the finals, I wanted to challenge Sir Master with my own skills. I helped Sodova make his entry, but I made mine completely on my own. If the flavor of my entry wasn't good enough, my own lack of training was to blame.
I really, really doubt for you to come that far and for you to want to cure yourself that badly. There's no way you would have given up at that point.
How about that, Sir Prosecutor? This is the truth of 18 years ago.
Unless, oh, you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be his son. Because that's what he said, right? His son wasn't there. He was there. His son leaves before the semifinals, not the finals. So his son did all the tasting for him. Yep, that's what's gonna be. I can't find any contradicting testimony. Okay, well that's fine. We just have to get him to talk about the semifinals. This guy's been on the run for 18 years after all. Guess we'll just have to keep on pressing him until he breaks, eh? Yes. Okay. So, I think the way we're gonna go about doing this is because we know full well that if he really wanted to cure his illness or his condition that badly, then there's no way he would have just thrown in the towel at the finish line, unless he had lost someone, like, or unless the person who was helping him get to that point left right before the finals. Up until the finals, I heard that you received high praise for the flavor of your desserts. Was there some sort of accident during the finals?
Nothing of the sort. I simply was unable to taste my work due to my taste disorder. My intuition must have been off. That's all.
Then was your intuition fine while making Mr. Dover's entry? How could there be such a huge difference between the finals and the previous day? We're not getting anywhere at this rate. Should I change the topic? Yes, ask about the semifinals. There we go. Ask about the semifinals. This is where we're gonna get him. So you're sure there wasn't anything different between the semifinals and the finals?
Yes, that's right. Aside from not cooperating with Mr. Dover, the finals weren't much different.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were, because your son wasn't there to help you. There was another difference between the semifinals and finals. This photo depicts your son. We know he came to visit you up until the finals.
That is correct. What does it have to do with anything?
Your son, who always came to see you through the semifinals, was not present for the finals. And then, it was only in the finals that your flavor judged poorly. I don't believe this to be a mere coincidence. Your son's visit must have been very important to you, were they not?
A father can work miracles when his son is watching. With my son cheering me on, I was able to make the most delicious desserts.
Mr. Gustavia sure sounds like a good father, doesn't he?
If what he's saying is the whole truth, one could say so. But just hearing his son's cheers wouldn't be enough to change the taste of his desserts. A confectioner, confident in his sense of taste, develops a taste disorder. It would have been difficult for him to maintain the taste of his desserts. Your son came to cheer you on. Was that really all he did?
You seem very doubtful, Sir Prosecutor. In that case, I'll turn this around and ask you. What else could my elementary school son have done?
Taste. Taste your desserts. I'm sure your elementary school son would have remembered the taste of your desserts.
Of course, my son always loved my desserts.
In that case, he would have been able to test your desserts in your place.
What did you just say?
Earlier, you told us that you have a taste disorder.
I've never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago.
No one else knew about your taste disorder. If Mr. Dover had found out, he would have ended your partnership. After all, you were in charge of the flavor. These pauses are getting a little annoying. Your son didn't just cheer you on, he also helped you determine if your desserts tasted correct. Ah, I see. Mr. Dover's dessert was made the day before, so it still tasted good.
What you are saying is quite amusing, Sir Prosecutor. You say that my elementary school son assisted me as a taste tester? You are insulting my pride.
Your pride?
It's true, I had no sense of design 18 years ago. However, I won't lose to anyone when it comes to flavor. You claim I would cast aside my pride and rely on my son? Don't get carried away with your foolish conjecture. You upstart.
Ugh. In that case, I'm sure your son can confirm if my theory is mere conjecture.
Unfortunately for you, I no longer have a son. Wait, what?
What?
After my taste disorder was cured, I went to train in Zane Fei immediately. During that time, I severed all ties with my son.
Wait, that doesn't mean you don't. That's not okay. For a second, you had me thinking he died, but then for a second, I had you thinking that he died, and I was like, oh, that's tragic. But then you're like, oh, I told my all ties, but that's not. That doesn't mean that he didn't suddenly become a tree now. He's still your son. You're still his father. We can still ask him what happened. That's not how that works. What?
Don't tell me.
You wouldn't even abandon your own son. Even if he did, that makes him a shittier person than he already is. That doesn't change the fact we can still ask him. That's not all. Even today, the whereabouts of his son is still known. That's a bit of a problem. That's a bigger problem. But we've been waiting 18 years, so, you know, we waited this long. What's a little longer to try to find his son? At least they've been searching, but they haven't been able to find any traces of him.
You wish to confirm your theory? I welcome you to try. Ha 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 ha. The stars are the only things that are important to me.
You know, you could have just opened by saying, haha, you think you're gonna find my son? You'll never find him. Wah ha ha ha. You didn't have to say,
I cut all ties with my son. Ha ha ha.
Oh, you're here, right.
Order in the courts. Mr. Gustavia's actions are certainly inhumane. However, we are not here to judge whether or not he is a good father. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I believe this is your loss.
After all, there was no evidence left from 18 years ago that could prove your theories.
Oh.
Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do?
I mean, it'd be great if Gumshoe could come back with that with the results we wanted from him. Gumshoe, you wanna help me out here? Detective Gumshoe, where are those results?
I wonder whose blood could have been. I've asked the forensics to look into it, sir.
Right, I leave it to you, Detective. I entrusted Detective Gumshoe with the last piece of evidence. If only I knew who that blood belonged to. Miles, there's still one thing that's bothering Uncle Ray. Was Mr. Gustavia's only reason for coming to the art gallery to check on the body? If he only wanted to confirm the body's presence, he wouldn't have needed to open the case. That's right. Is there a way we can prove this? There is one way, we just need that evidence from Detective Gumshoe.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Gumshoe!
Mr. Edgeworth, sorry to keep you waiting, sir.
Heh, just the person I was talking about. Detective Gumshoe, I trust you have the test results?
Of course, sir. I just got the report back from the lab.
Detective, please be silent. So this is the evidence that Prosecutor Edgeworth was talking about?
Huh? Hey, what's this? This is the first I've heard of it yet. I'm so shocked. This will not be the first time that you haven't heard of it. This was a request from me. I asked him to investigate a certain piece of evidence. Why is everyone always helping you out? Because people like me. Who likes you? Nobody. I'm the one in charge of the crime scene. Mr. DeBest, I apologize for taking matters into my own hands, but you're kind of f***ing useless. But how about we hear his report first? Sure. Detective Gumshoe, what were the results?
Here's the report, sir. Traces of blood found in the Gemini sculpture belong to the victim of the poison gas,
Jane Gustavia. Well, isn't that just wonderfully convenient?
What are you saying?
Good work, Detective. As I thought, my theory was correct.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? We too would like an explanation. What on earth does this blood prove?
This blood is something that the culprit of this IS evidence tried to conceal.
It can't be. That's...
This blood was found inside the glass case of the Gemini sculpture. In other words, your blood was found alongside Mr. Nova's body! Yeah, it's the pursuit music. We got you now, pal.
Why would Mr. Gustavia's blood be in a place like that?
Why do you think? If you intend to remain silent, then I'll reveal the truth myself. In the Gemini's case, aside from the blood, we also found traces of salt and sugar.
Salt and blood?
And only one of Mr. Nova's sherbet desserts tasted salty. Come to think of it. I remember Miss Delicious saying the same thing 18 years ago.
Oh, you see, she sure was most delicious.
Really?
I wish I could have eaten some too. But there was one piece that was so salty I couldn't eat it.
Salty?
It's right here in this photo. It was a part of that lyre.
That's the lyre from the Gemini constellation. Exactly. For some reason, salt had been mixed into the lyre. No other traces of salt were found in Dover's room.
In that case, please explain. Where did the salt detected in the lyre come from?
Best guess, you know, the salt... I just went right past it. Probably the salt lamp is going to be your best guess at figuring out where it came from. Because, you know, it has salt in the name.
This is the rock salt lamp used as the murder weapon in the IS-7 incident?
I believe part of this rock salt lamp was mixed in with the sherbet from the lyre. At the time of the murder, there were 2 rock salt lamps in Mr. Master's room. One of those lamps took Mr. Dover's life. We know that Mr. Dover's blood was left behind on the murderer's lamp. However, there were no traces of anyone's blood found at the crime scene, Mr. Master's room, because the killer disposed all the desserts with traces of blood into the streams of water, right? No other traces of salt were found in Mr. Dover's room. Speaking of which, weren't the 2 rock salt lamps found in Mr. Delicious's room also broken? Looks like both the lamps and the pillars are broken.
Both of their light bulbs are broken.
Maybe they were dropped on the floor? We never did figure out why the other rock salt lamp was broken. Maybe Mr. Gustavia's blood was on the other lamp. If your blood was found on the lamps at the crime scene, you would have been suspected. As the culprit, you would have needed to conceal all traces of your blood from the police.
Don't tell me he concealed it in the sherbet lyre.
Exactly. The rock salt lamp and his blood were mixed into the sherbet lyre and hidden inside the glass case. Unlike the fountain's water, the sherbet desserts would not be analyzed right away. Perhaps he had planned to dispose of the sherbet when the opportunity presented itself.
Then, the reason Mr. Gustavia came to this gallery?
18 years ago, the body and the evidence pointing toward the killer were both stolen. Even the killer could not have anticipated that. There was no way of knowing when the body and the evidence would be discovered. So he planned to destroy the evidence before the Zodiac Art Gallery's grand opening? Dame Gustavia, isn't it about time you confessed? You are the true culprit of the IS-7 incident.
Monsieur Gustavia, you're the reason Monsieur Master is...
Mrs. Gustavia?
Could it be? After all this time, my crime is finally brought to light. The prosecutors and defense attorneys 18 years ago never even came close. Bravo, bravo. Well done, Sir Prosecutor.
So you admit that you killed Mr. Dover?
It is true, I killed Isaac Dover, but he had only himself to blame.
What do you mean?
Dover and I worked together in order to win the contest. No matter who won, we agreed that we'd share the angel's recipe. But on the day of the finals, he stabbed me in the back. Sir Dover, this wasn't what we agreed to.
I'm sorry, Gustavia. The deal is off.
What? Boy, but I made your desserts for you. I'm the reason you got this far.
And what of it? Can you prove that you assisted me in any way?
Dover, you were planning to betray me all along. Because of Dover's treachery, I was forced to make my final entries on my own. It's just as Sir Prosecutor said, my son assisted me every day until the finals.
What about your pride as a confectionery artist?
A proud chef loses the ability to taste his own creations. That's a feeling an upstart like you would never understand. Mastering the art of dessert making is my reason for being. It is my one and only pride.
Committing murder for the sake of pride. That's another feeling I will never understand. To say nothing of abandoning your own son. Such a thought disgusts me.
Before you judge me, first understand what has happened 18 years ago. On the day of the finals, my son never came to assist me. Thinking back on it now, I suppose Dover had a hand in that as well.
Huh? What exactly happened to your son?
I do not know, but it no longer matters. Ever since that day, my son meant nothing to me.
You realize there's like a million... Okay, wait, okay, so let me get this straight. Your son's in elementary school. He doesn't show up on time, and your first thought is, where's that little shit? He's supposed to taste my desserts. Not, wait, my son is in elementary school, which means he's anywhere between the ages of 5 and 10, and he's missing. Maybe fuck the cake, go find your son. That's your first thought, is the cake, or the dessert, or whatever bullshit you were cooking that day. Really? You're a little sack of shit, you know that?
From what I hear, he's still missing.
That's awful! Giving up on him like that!
Without your son, you had no chance of winning, correct?
Yes, and since I was guaranteed to lose, I needed a failsafe. During the afternoon tea time, I made my way to Sir Master's room. I just needed to take a photo of the cure to my taste disorder. It would have all worked out. If only Dover hadn't interfered.
Ah, Gustavia. Trying to steal a picture of my prize, are you? That hardly seems Spartan.
You?
Cure for taste disorders? Oh, you have a taste disorder, don't you? Ah, this is Rich, a pastry chef who can't taste.
Dover, you? Ah!
Puny worm, you are in no position to oppose me.
Why, you? When I attempted to hit Dover, he struck me and sent me flying. I crashed into one of the rock salt lamps, and that was when my blood started to stain on it.
So Mr. Dover wasn't the first one to be injured.
To conceal my blood, I sheared away part of the rock salt lamp and mixed it into the sherbet. After that, it became a part of the liar sculpture.
So, that's how you tried to erase your traces from the crime scene.
Dover tried to blackmail me by using his knowledge of my taste disorder. If I didn't want it to become public, I was to pay him a large sum.
So, that's the reason why you killed Isaac Dover?
Ah, exactly. What reason do I have to let those who obstruct me live? He was the one who drew first blood. I simply gave him his just desserts.
So that was his motive.
I carried the rock salt lamp that bore my blood into Dover's room. Then I came up with a hiding place where it would not be easily found.
I get it. That room contained plenty of tools for sculpting sherbet.
Your deduction is spot on, Sir Attorney. It was the ideal place to shave away the rock salt. I then proceeded to coat the surface of the sherbet layer with vast amounts of the salty mixture.
But why? Why did you try to pin the crime on Monsieur Master?
You are wrong to blame me for that, Lady Catherine. If not for your unnecessary meddling, Sir Master would never have been a suspect. Why do you think I hid the murder weapon in fluorescent cloth in Lady Delicious' room?
There is only one reason why you'd place a murder weapon in someone else's room. You wanted to pin the crime on Delicia.
Me?
Yes, that is correct.
Gusty, why me?
As one who sought to be the world's best confectioner, I greatly respected Sir Master. It was never my intention to cast suspicion on him, but an insolent woman who dared to sully the contest with fake desserts. I had no problem letting someone like you take the blame for the crime.
That makes me sad.
If you hadn't snacked on the other people's desserts, the body would never have been found. It was when Sir Master would be judging Lady Delicious' room. That's when I finally saw an opportunity to freeze the body, but before I could move the body, Lady Catherine had already discovered it.
Why? Do you need to freeze Monsieur Dover's body?
Well, that's obvious. He wanted to throw up the time of death because there was only one time throughout the entire day when he could have realistically killed Dover, so he wanted to throw up the time of death. That part's obvious.
Why indeed?
Monsieur Edgeworth, please tell us.
Everyone in this room is just worthless when it comes to deductive reasoning. It's like only Edgeworth can use logic to throw up the time of death. Obviously. Mr. Gustavia intended to freeze the body in order to throw off the time of death. If the time of death had coincided with the tea party, Mr. Gustavia would have been suspected.
Ah, that is correct. Preparations were necessary to freeze the body. While I was preparing in Dover's room, I placed the body in the treasure chest in Sir Master's room. I could think of no better hiding place at the time. But thanks to that gluttonous pharmacist, the lid of the chest broke.
But why did you disguise him as an ice sculpture?
Once the body was discovered, there would be no time to throw off the time of death. To buy time, you needed to hide it someplace else.
How horrid! How could you hide Monsieur Dover's body within one of his own works?
It all would have worked out if the body hadn't been discovered while it was in Sir Master's room. If everything had gone according to plan, Sir Master would never have been arrested.
So, because I discovered the body? It's my fault, Monsieur Master.
Do not blame yourself for this. Do not blame yourself for this, Kate. Don't take his words to heart. Even if suspicion hadn't fallen on Mr. Master, Miss Delicious would have taken the fall. No matter who he targeted, the one at fault here is Mr. Gustavia himself.
The detective in charge of the initial investigation was also a dunce. To think that he never reported the missing body to the prosecutor.
Prosecutor Von Karma indicted Mr. Master without knowing the body had vanished. I see. That would explain why he looked so flustered at the crime scene. Although, it's something that would stand out if you read the official documents. Could someone have intentionally distorted the information? At any rate, Von Karma found out about the missing body after he had made his indictment. And if he had let one person be acquitted, he'd have a stain on his much prided perfect record. That's why he concealed the fact that the body was hidden and had Mr. Master declared guilty.
What are you saying? For 18 years, that man has taken the blame for your crimes. Don't you feel anything at all?
I don't care what you say. What a monster! I'm arresting him right here, right now, pal! Oh, sorry, it said service still.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that will be impossible.
What? Oh, you're gonna pull the statute of limitation bullshit on me?
So you figured it out. That's correct. You have no right to sentence me.
What? But the culprit is standing right in front of us!
Allow me to tell you the reason why you can't arrest me.
Let me guess, the statute of limitations. It has been 18. Yep, that's what it's gonna be. The stupid statute of limitations bullshit.
Oh, the same thing that means Kay can't be arrested for. It's gonna.
Wait. No, he said something. He said something when we were playing Logic Chess. He said something about him training in Zhang Fei. And if memory serves me right, the statute of limitations is put on hold if the suspect flees to or lives in a foreign country. Whilst the accomplices are on trial, he didn't have an accomplice, so that doesn't. Wait, no, he didn't have an accomplice, but Mr. Masters was tried as an accomplice. He was tried as an accomplice. He wasn't, but he was tried as an accomplice. And if he was tried as an accomplice, and he was on trial, then the countdown also stopped, and it means the statute of limitations has not expired. Not yet, pal. Oh no. Oh, it's not gonna work. Oh, you're so done.
The statute of limitations on murder in this country is 15 years, is it not?
Not in this case, it's not. Not in this case, it's not.
I only confessed my crime because the statute of limitations had expired.
And that was a very foolish thing to do. Not that it would have mattered because we had enough evidence to can you anyway, but still.
The statute of limitations for murder is 15 years! Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do?
Ugh. As long as the statute of limitations remains, arresting him is impossible.
No way! My sincerest apologies, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Why? I'm assuming there's a reason you hate me specifically, so I can't wait to find out what that is.
Neither Mr. Gustavia's testimony nor your logic can be taken as official legal proof. The verdict of the trial 18 years ago cannot be overturned.
What about the fact that Mr. Dover's body was hidden? Even if we can't arrest Mr. Gustavia, this should at least earn Mr. Master a retrial.
Really? I wonder about that. Overturning a verdict of the goddess of law is much harder than you think.
I mean, we did it almost instantly in Recipe for Turnabout. Is the PSC trying to justify the verdict from 18 years ago?
How unfortunate, Sir Prosecutor.
Is there nothing I can do? Is there no way to continue pursuing Mr. Gustavia? Oh, there is. Oh, there absolutely is. So, you think the statute of limitations in this case is 15 years, huh? Oh, you sweet summer child. It's possible that some of your actions 18 years ago were not affected by the statute.
It's been so long, I've got nothing left to hide. Ask me anything you'd like.
Anything, huh? Very well. Could you explain to me what you did during these past 18 years?
Certainly. After the contest, the medicine from the recipe book allowed me to fully cure my taste disorder. I then immediately headed to Zhang Fei to train my design skills.
So he wasn't seen ever since that case because he was in the foreign country.
Indeed, and I'm certain that I went abroad to train. About 1 year after that case, right before Sir Master's final trial began, and thanks to my training, I am now a confectioner unparalleled in both taste and design.
Oh, pal, you should not be proud of a position earned through the sacrifices of others.
You can't bake a cake without breaking a few eggs. Sacrifices were necessary for my goal.
That's horrible!
Say what you will. The fact still remains that you cannot arrest me.
Nope. That's wrong. You just admitted it. I've got to get more information. No, I don't. I don't need any more information. You just admitted everything. Was there anything of note in his recent testimony? His training in Zhang Fei. Yeah, you're done. You just admitted you were in a foreign country. Could you please add the details of your training in Zhang Fei to your testimony?
Certainly.
Oh, you're going down, pal. You are going down. Afterwards, I trained Zhang Fei to become the world's best confectioner, which means that this statute of limitations no longer applies. Objection! One of the conditions regarding the statute of limitations for murder is as follows. If the suspect flees to a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. So the statute of limitations was suspended while you were overseas. Here we go. Final proceedings of the case.
That's right! The statute of limitations stopped while you were training in Zhang Fei! Indeed. It is possible that the statute of limitations has not expired yet. Mr. Gustavia, please tell us how long you stayed in Zhang Fei.
It would be exactly 3 years.
3 years? Wait, let's calmly think this over. The case occurred 18 years ago. The statute of limitations is 15 years, and he was away for 3.
15 plus 3 is exactly 18 years! I'm sure of it! Mr. Edgeworth, we did it! The statute of limitations hasn't expired yet!
Exactly 18 years, you say? How amusing!
Ugh, so he realized.
Why are you laughing? The statute of limitations still applies!
Okay, it's frustrating, but the case occurred in December. It's April now, which means, strictly speaking, the case occurred 18 years before 1 ago. Yeah, but that doesn't matter, because there's still one more. There's still one more piece, and that is the fact that his accomplice was on trial, so that's gonna push us over the limit. His stakeout wasn't quite enough. We were just a few months short.
Not enough. That's.
Like I said, it's impossible for you to arrest me.
No, it's not. Oh, you are so cocky, but you're going down. He must have known all about this when he confessed to his crime. Prosecutor Edgeworth, it really is a shame. If it was just 1 year earlier, the statute of limitations would not have run out. Ugh. Those who undermine the goddess of law's verdict must both bear the burden of their crimes. It seems you are simply incapable. Ugh! No! This can't be the end. So, Monsieur Gustavia really is beyond the law's reach? Kate, what are you thinking?
Objection!
If you're thinking of taking matters into your own hands, I implore you to reconsider. There still might be a way to bring this man to justice. Yeah! Never been a better time for joke and motive! Miles, remember the facts of the case 18 years ago. Just as you were mistaken earlier, it seems Mr. Gustavia has also overlooked one key detail. Overlooked? He wasn't present during Mr. Master's final trial, so he doesn't know the outcome of the trial. There may yet be a way for you to arrest him. Miles, look over that book on statute of limitations again. 17 years ago, Master was falsely declared guilty for a serious crime. Thanks to that verdict, we aren't out of ammunition just yet. Mr. Shields, you don't mean... Those who undermine the goddess of law's verdict must bear the burden of their crimes. I am Mr. Master's attorney. I can't use suffering as a weapon in good conscience. For that reason, I leave the rest up to you. The trial my father and Von Karma battled over, can I use that to arrest Mr. Gustavia? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Abso-goddamn-lutely. My father and Von Karma, their paths diverged. One revealed the truth, the other concealed it. The path that I choose is the one that reveals the truth. I see no further reason to prolong this trial. I hereby find Dame Gustavia not guilty. Overruled! Ha! Gustavia will stand in court for his crimes. Do you mean to say you have found a way to arrest Mr. Gustavia? Exactly. I'll show Judge Courtney the evidence that will shatter the statute of limitations, and that is the IS-7 incident file proving that Mr. Masters was found guilty as an accomplice! The IS-7 case file. Which page are you referring to? That would be suspect data, right? Because he was a suspect, so it would logically be there. The suspect data page. At this trial, Miss Jeffrey Master was found guilty of being an accomplice to murder. And it took 1 year to arrive at this verdict. Right, that is indeed true. This book lists conditions in which the statute of limitations can be put on hold. The first, as I have said earlier, is if the suspect flees to a foreign country. But there's one more. If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached.
What are you saying? Sir Master was found to be an accomplice?
That's right. Mr. Master was sentenced after he had left for your trip to Zhang Fei, and he was found guilty not of being the culprit, but of being an accomplice. But it seems you didn't know that.
That's absurd! Sir Master never committed any crime to begin with. You shouldn't certainly know this.
Of course we do. That is why we are going to free him. To that end, we will shatter the one remaining obstacle in our way.
The statute of limitations!
You've fled to Zhang Fei for 3 years, and Jeffrey Master was being tried as an accomplice for 1 year. Put it all together, we see that the total time limit for this case is 19 years. In other words, the statute of limitations is not over for you yet. The goddess of law is unerring in her judgments. However, it seems that the prosecutor at the time was not. I cannot believe it, but it seems like the case will have to be reopened.
This is absurd! You cannot arrest me!
Through the last 18 years, an innocent man has suffered greatly in your stead. Mr. Gustavia, it's now time for you to atone for your crimes.
No! I had finally earned my place as the greatest confectioner in the world. To achieve that goal, I cast everything aside, even my own son!
Yeah, and you were a tool for doing that. What a shame. You can't run for your crimes any longer.
Ugh.
Yikes, okay.
Oh.
Alrighty then. That was certainly one way to go out.
Dean Gustavia is taken into custody, sir!
Yeah, so you're up next, right?
Yes, I understand. Kate. Everyone, I am truly sorry for all the trouble I've caused. And thank you very much for catching Monsieur Gustavia. What you did cannot be overlooked, even if the crimes you committed were in response to a past injustice. As a prosecutor, I am terribly sorry for what has happened here. No, I'm only getting what I deserve, since I was the cause of all this. Kate, will you have me as your attorney? I'm not quite the same useless kid I was 18 years ago. I won't let them find you guilty. Oh, Monsieur Shields. Yes, thank you so much. This victory music is so good. That's one thing that's been consistently good across all the games except Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, is the victory music. The music you get to hear after you finally put all the logic together. You use all the evidence to solve the case. It's always so satisfying to hear this. Oh, it's so good.
Sorry to interrupt, but it's time to go.
Yes, alright. I like how Larry's still here, just twiddling about. Judge Courtney, I can't help but feel that you've been dishonest with me. Dishonest? Whatever do you mean? You said that the verdict could not be overturned, but that was not the case. A reinvestigation and retrial were obviously required as soon as the missing body was found. I have no need to answer you. It seems she doesn't intend to ever give me an answer. Prosecutor Edgeworth, the PIC has you in its sights. They will receive a report on everything you did here today. Yeah, and if they do, they're gonna be impressed beyond belief. They're gonna be like, okay, why haven't we given this guy, like, the maximum raise possible yet? And you will most likely be required to appear before them. What? All I did was find the truth. Now then, I shall take my leave. Hold on! Mr. Edgeworth caught the real bad guy! Didn't he do his job as a prosecutor? No matter how things turn out, I will never regret what I did here today. Mr. Edgeworth!
Hey, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
What is it?
Why are you always sticking your nose into cases that you're not even involved with?
His father was the defense attorney for this case, you annoying little shit. What do you mean, cases he's not even involved with? My duty is to reveal the truth, not only as a prosecutor. It's just who I am. I don't get it. Yeah, of course you don't get it. You don't get anything. You're the most incompetent person on the face of the planet. As long as you continue to think that being the best is all that matters, I doubt you ever will. Well, I don't get that either. Yeah, sure. Just keep digging yourself deeper into the hole, buddy. I'm going home. Yeah. Okay, Tommy. Take your ball and run home.
What was that all about?
There is much he still needs to learn.
Miley!
What is it?
I knew Gretty's son could do it. I think I might be falling for you.
I'm not interested.
Thanks for helping Jeffy.
Well, Yo, Edgy! Great job solving that case! Well, I was busy drawing, so I really didn't catch all of it. Huh? Where did Katie and Justy run off to?
Larice, you really weren't paying much attention at all, were you?
Well, I hate to admit it, but Larry's doodles actually helped us out a few times. I should say something nice to him. Don't glare at me like that, I'm sorry! It was not my intention to glare at you.
That patented Edgeworth glare. It's just like your old man.
Is that so?
Well then, Uncle Ray's gonna go pay Mr. Master a visit. You guys wanna tag along?
I'd be happy to accompany you.
Oh, me too!
April 2nd, 4:56 p.m., Detention Center, Visitor's Room. Here we are at last.
So this Jeffrey Master, what's he like? Oh, he's a really nice and gentle guy. He's still doing his best to make people happy. He actually cooks desserts for the inmates.
He's gonna walk out here and he's gonna be the exact opposite of all of those, isn't he?
Nowadays, all the prisoners and guards look forward to snack time at 3 o'clock. Wow, that's nice. I want to eat his desserts too.
So the chocolate cake we saw in the prison the other day, he was the one who made it. That's a nice bit of consistency between cases.
Oh, Gummy, why are you here?
I heard everybody was coming to visit, so I escorted Mr. Master myself.
Hello, one and all. I am Jeffrey Master. Prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth at your service.
And I'm Mr. Edgeworth's assistant, Kay Faraday.
Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you all. Mr. Master, Miles is your old defense attorney's son. You mean Mr. Gregory's? Your father has done so much for me. He landed me in prison. And yet, I betrayed his good faith when that was a joke, by the way. It was a joke being like, haha, he failed to defend me. No, that was a joke. It was a joke. I've heard the details from Mr. Shields. Mr. Master, I came here today to tell you everything we've learned about 18 years ago. 18 years ago? Kate committed a crime for my sake? Why would she do such a thing? Miss Hull's been trying to prove your innocence for the past 18 years. She was willing to do whatever it took to save you. Kate, she shouldn't have gone through so much trouble for an old man who let her down. Mr. Master, I don't think you realize just how much Miss Hull cares for you. I have something here that clearly proves the two of you share an unbreakable— oh, it's the chocolates. An unbreakable bond? Proof of the bond between Jeffrey Master and Catherine Hull. This should give Mr. Master some peace of mind. I just gotta show him the chocolates and then we'll be good to go. Take that! These chocolates, did Kate make them? She did.
They're really sweet and tasty.
She's been making these chocolates for the past 18 years, so that she could give them to you whenever you returned. Kate! Aww. I'm sure they are very, very sweet. Yes, they truly are. Unfortunately, I cannot give them to you now, but
I can hand them over later in secret, pal.
It is against the rules, but right now, I don't have the authority to stop him. Oh, thank you very much. Say, you remind me of an old friend. Do you know of a Detective Bad?
Of course I do. Detective Bad is my #1 role model, pal.
How uncanny. Talk about fate. Mr. Master, it's looking like we'll be able to get you out soon. I can only apologize that it took 18 years to do so. Raymond, I'm the one who should be apologizing. No, that's not it. What I really should be saying is, thank you. Mr. Master, now it's my turn to wait for Kate. I'll make her favorite sweets every day until she returns. Please look after her, Raymond. You got it. The IS-7 incident, the case I inherited from my father. After 18 long years, it's finally coming to a close. Miles, thanks for today. I am sorry for leaving that final decision to you. No, I made that decision of my own free will.
Eh? What are you talking about?
To arrest Gustavia, we had no choice but to use Mr. Master's false charge. To use Mr. Master's false charge, which I was originally supposed to protect him from. The attorney inside of me simply could not do it.
So that's how it was.
But, after this, Uncle Ray is going to try to clear away that false charge as well. Yes, I understand.
What? But if they find out about the false charge, they won't be able to arrest Mr. Gustavia, right?
That's true. It sure is a contradiction in the law. The way the law is right now isn't always completely right.
A contradiction in the law?
Well, who knows what'll happen. Law evolves and grows, just like all of us do. Just like Uncle Ray and Miles have grown up. You know? People and the law both grow. Miles, to fight crime as a prosecutor, or to save people as a defense attorney, I want you to think carefully about how you want to live your life from now on. I will. Well, if you ask Uncle Ray. Here we go! You'll always feel like I'm down at the office. Doo-doo-doo. Second most satisfying music in the world. But the victory music is also, you know, like, such a nice conclusion. Alrighty then, looks like it's time for Uncle Ray to get going. Next time I see you, I'll be sure to thank you again. Really though, thanks for today.
Mr. Shield seemed to be in a bit of a hurry.
Indeed. I should be the one thanking him. I was able to face my father's last case because of him. When I was young, I wanted to become a great defense attorney like my father. However, under Prosecutor Von Karma, I learned the ways of a prosecutor. Thanks to a certain friend, I was able to discover my own path in life. However, right now, there are forces trying to take me off the prosecutor's path. Maybe now is the perfect time to think about how I should live my life. There's still more, really? Edgeworth Law Offices. Gregory. Oh, it's the past. I'm sorry that it took so long. Or is he talking to a photo? Oh, he's talking to a photo, okay. It may have taken 18 years, but finally, we've proven Mr. Master's innocence. Miles, your son, helped me with that. The way he fought for the truth. He was just like you, Gregory. I'm still not the kind of attorney you were, but I will forever carry on the convictions I inherited from you, and if I can, that is amazing. Together with him, those pictures. To fight crime as a prosecutor, or to save people as a defense attorney. The path I choose is... Well, we know the answer to that because we've played the other games. Wow! What a case! The Forgotten Turnabout. Okay. See, that also sounds like a flashback case because it's like, hey, you forgot all about this case, but I doubt they would have two flashback cases in a row. Either way, that case was so good! So, admittedly, it didn't quite match my expectations, but that's just because my expectations were, like, on Jupiter in terms of how high they were. But, that said, the pacing of that case could have been a little better than it was. There were a couple sections in the middle there that kind of felt like they were dragged on a little too long. Like, the beginning of the case, there's a lot of really fast-paced investigating, and the end of the case was really fast-paced, putting the truth together. The middle kind of dragged a bit in some areas. They probably could have refined that a little bit. But other than that, phenomenal. The characters, the mystery, so good. And the character moments, playing as Gregory Edgeworth, the character moments between Ray and him, it was all so good. That case was so good. I don't know, the thing is, I can't really compare the cases so far, because they've all been outstanding. They've all been phenomenal. So I don't really know how to compare them. I mean, if I tried my hardest, I could, but it's like, they're all, like, right on top of each other so far. The only thing I'll say is that this isn't a fault of the game, to be clear. It's a fault of when I chose to play this game. It doesn't, the whole what path is he gonna pick thing doesn't really have an impact on me, because I know this game takes place between Investigations 1 and Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, and having played Dual Destinies already, I know that he obviously becomes a chief prosecutor, so it doesn't really, like, the whole internal dilemma he's having doesn't really affect me at all. But whether it affects me or not is irrelevant, because the fact that they're actually taking the time to have this character development in-game is fantastic. So I can't wait to see how this goes. Alright, that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. We'll catch you all tomorrow for the start of a new case in Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Goodbye!